Broadcasting to the north and beyond. This is the sound of North Highland Radio. North Highland Radio.
So you're with me, James Martin, here on Crackin' Tunes, sponsored by Two Minds Social Media, all the way till 10 o'clock tonight. Don't forget, if you've got any requests, any dedications, or any questions for my guest, Dr Paul Monaghan, tonight, then it's studio at northhighlandradio.co.uk. And we will get to you, but this is just so interesting, and it's something that's really close to my heart, I have to say, is in relation to we were talking there about begging. We've had a question in here that said, I once saw a homeless person begging on a very cold wet day as I was walking into a coffee shop for a lovely hot drink. So instead of giving him money, I went in and bought him the biggest cup of tea that I could. Is that something that people could do? Is that kind of calling their bluff, I guess, is it?
Well, I think it's a bit of both. I mean, I'd absolutely encourage that. I mean, I think it's unhelpful to give people who are begging on the streets money. Mm-hmm. I think it encourages people to beg on the streets for money, and often they're doing it for reasons that we really don't know why. You know? In Inverness, for example, I see most of the people out trying to beg on the streets. I know some of them that have got homes of their own, so they're not homeless by any stretch of the imagination. And I would also make the point that busking is a different thing altogether to begging. You know, a lot of the guys that are busking are excellent entertainers in their own right, and they absolutely deserve a bit of financial support. Begging's a different thing altogether. It's somebody asking for money essentially for doing nothing, because they've got some kind of a need, and often we don't know what that need is. So if somebody's claiming to be hungry, if somebody's complaining that they don't have somewhere to live, you know, buy them a cup of tea, ask them if they would like some food, and if they don't have somewhere to live, direct them towards a charity that can provide them with accommodation. Excellent. Okay, good question. You know, that's it. So if you get any more, then it's studio at northhighlandradio.co.uk. We're all the way through till 10 o'clock. We're almost halfway through the show. It's 9 o'clock all next time here, and I'm with you till 10 when the Colonel will come in and take over for all the late show. So we're going to rattle through your questions now because we've spoken so much about the trust, Paul. So your first single that you can remember buying, then what was that? Well, I struggle to remember this myself, to be honest with you, James. When I was younger, I wasn't a particularly big music fan. Even today, I'm not a particularly big music fan. I like what I hear. Thinking about it, I'm pretty sure the first music that I bought wasn't a single, it was a cassette. Right, yeah. Don't get cassettes nowadays, showing their age, perhaps. Right. But it was the Thompson twins, who were quite popular at the time. So I was trying to think, it must have been late 70s, I think, or early 80s, somewhere around there. Yeah. The track that really caught my imagination was Dr. And the Thompson twins, they were a bit quirky, actually, weren't they? That's right, yeah. And I always thought it was amusing, you know. And I think their name, the Thompson twins, they took it from Hergé's Adventures of Tintin. That's right, it was all a bit of fun, really, wasn't it? Because they weren't really twins. They weren't twins at all. No, I don't think they were related. So they are. So we've dug into the library, and for once, I have to say, Crackin' Tunes listeners have been caught out tonight. We don't actually have that one in the Doctor in the charts in the library here, but we do have another Thompson twins here, so you've agreed that this will do for the time being. Perfect, well done, We'll go with this one and then we'll come back and we'll start with the questions then. So we go then, that was a little bit of Thompson Twins, so that swung us what we got here. That swung us straight back into back to the 80s there, Paul. Yeah, it's a bit of a blast from the past, wasn't it? It was, definitely. Yeah, absolutely. So, right, we're going to look at your questions and see what kind of things that just about you as a person. We'll kind of get through these, and then of course we've got the killer quickfire round, which you've got no idea about. That's just the yes no kind of answers that we'll be giving. So so excluding your family, job or money, what could you not live without on a day-to-day basis? I think this is an easy one for me. It's definitely my car. Your car, is it? Absolutely my car, yeah. I've always been keen on cars, keen on motorbikes, keen on mechanical things generally, but I do enjoy driving. I've always enjoyed driving, And I think absolutely I'd be stuck completely without my car.
So you're a tinkerer, do you like to go out and tinker? Well, you don't really tinker with cars anymore,
well,
do you?
I was just going to say that. I used to be, absolutely, quite handy as well, I must admit.
Right.
But now you open the bonnet of a car now and I wouldn't know where to start.
No. It's a USB you plug in somewhere, really, isn't it? That's what you do.
Definitely.
You know, I think it all went wrong with mechanics when the mechanics had to start putting on rubber gloves. That was where it all kind of...
I don't think that helped. It's all a bit scientific now, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of like, you take your car in and you've got they plug a USB into somewhere under your dash that you didn't even know was there, and this computer tells them that it's even getting to the stage where it's going to tell you when things are going to go wrong. It's quite crazy.
Absolutely.
Although interestingly, I pulled into to a car park yesterday, the day before yesterday, and there was an R registration car, and I thought, that's quite old now, an R reg. I mean, that must be back 90 something or other. Around about that, when you look back on it, an old Mazda, one of the first version Mazda 6s.
I think R must have been about 85, 86.
Would it have been as early as that? R, so it would have been, absolutely. So, and it's quite interesting because we were having this conversation at work a few days ago that you don't really see old cars now.
You don't, do you? No.
There's not.
Let's hope that they're being recycled.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're not just sitting in this old scrap heap somewhere. So, right, we're going to go to one of your tracks here, and you've chosen, and it kind of kicked off there by accident. You've chosen a Proclaimers track here. So, which one is that?
Well, I've chosen Cap in Hand. I mean, they've got a lot of great songs, don't they? I like the way that the Proclaimers belt everything out, frankly. It's always upbeat. They tend to have a message in their songs as well. There's definitely a message in Cap in Hand. It's just a great song.
Good, let's go there then. This is Cap in Hand and the Proclaimers. Choice of Dr Paul Monaghan from the Highland Homeless Trust. The Proclaimers, as you say, loads. They've just got loads. I have to say, probably Sunshine and Leith is my favourite of theirs.
They're all great songs, aren't they? I do like Cap in Hand, I must admit. But Craig and Charlie Reid, I think they're great guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Real characters.
Absolutely excellent there. So, right, we'll fire on with your next question. And as the regular listeners will know, they come in a nice order. So, what 2 or 3 things would really, really get your goat? What 3 things really rip your knitting?
Do you know, when I was at school, 15, 16, I started smoking. Smoked for years. I stopped smoking maybe about 12 years ago now, and I cannot stand smoking at all.
Is that right? So you're one of the stereotypical reformed smokers then,
absolutely,
is that it? Yeah.
Absolutely. So smoking's definitely on that list.
Yeah.
And I have to take my hat off to the Scottish Government for banning smoking in public spaces.
Yeah, absolutely.
So great. What else? Football.
Yeah.
I cannot stand football
at all.
I don't know anything about it. I suppose maybe that's not fair. Actually, I suppose what I would really have a problem with is football commentators.
Right, yeah.
You know, that programme on a Saturday or whenever it is, where you've got the commentator, it's a game of 2 halves, all of these sort of anecdotes. Why not call the football ground the football ground? It's always the name of the street that's on.
That's right,
I don't like that, I have to admit.
Yeah, no, that's quite a brave thing to admit, for a bloke in Scotland, because, our national game. But I'm with you, I'm not a huge football fan, I'll watch it if it's on, if there's something there, but it's not something. I'm not religious to sit down and watch Match of the Day or whatever.
No, it does get a bit partisan, doesn't it? I think it's over commercialised now. I do believe that. I think in a lot of cases the fun's been taken out of it. Yeah. I think probably the only time nowadays that I would ever consider watching a football match is maybe the World Cup final or some kind of special occasion like that. That's right. But preferably with the sound off, so I don't hear the commentators.
That's right. I think you're probably right. I think we're having grown up in the Central Belt, and it just has completely different connotations, football down there. And I think that kind of drove me away from it. The one that I do like is the one that they do for UNICEF, the one that Robbie Williams does every 2 years. They're like the England versus the rest of the world. I quite enjoy that, but that's not real footballers, really.
No, but I think that's the point. People are having a bit of fun, aren't they? And they're doing it for a charitable reason, so great fun. Yeah. But you hear about these guys that are getting hundreds of thousands of pounds a week for kicking a ball about. I personally think that's hard to justify.
Absolutely, it is. Okay, anything else?
Yeah, last one, TV competition shows. And I'm talking about X Factor and things like that.
Yeah.
I would just rather we didn't.
Yeah.
Just rather we didn't.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because I was tuned in last Saturday. It happened to be on last Saturday, the new series of X Factor, and I was literally screaming at the TV because they had, for those that watched it, there is haven't watched it, spoiler alert coming up here, but they did the usual, the whole X Factor of putting together people who had come on their own, which gives I presume the production much greater rights over them because they put this group together, and it came to the point of them being eliminated, and they were clearly, and I'm quite into music and I've been in bands before, so I know a fair bit about music, and they were clearly much more musically talented people, and they put them out in favour of the put together band, and I'm thinking it was so wrong. It was so wrong. It was so, you could see the commercialism oozing out of it to see, this is a band they're going to love. And
I get the impression from some of these shows, I mean, X Factor's not the only one by any stretch of the imagination, but they do seem a bit contrived, and they do seem a bit rigged as well.
Absolutely,
to be honest. And I think why do we have so many of them? It seems you can't put the TV on now and everything's a competition.
That's right. Yeah. What about British Bake Off? Do you like that?
I don't mind that one. I think
there's a bit of talent in that.
There is, and I think it's really very highly skilled people, isn't it? I mean, some of the things that they're making are
absolutely
are fantastic.
We were chatting about that in the show, Paul, a few weeks ago, and it's kind of gone. I don't know if you remember when it first came onto the TV. It was genuinely mumsy home bakers, that came in and could bake.
Absolutely,
You're now at a completely different level now. These people are skilled bakers.
Michelin star stuff now, isn't it?
Absolutely.
I did watch the first series. You're right. It was a bit of fun. And,
that's right.
People, as you say, were coming in and they were making the sort of food that they enjoy to eat at home. But now you look at it is Michelin star stuff.
It's huge stuff there. So TV competitions there as well. So very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. We're going to go to this track here, which is and this is an old favourite. Again, this is a bit of a rock anthem, this one, I guess.
Possibly. I was lucky enough to go to Florida a few years ago, and in one of the Disney parks there's a ride. You've obviously been on it as well, where they play an Aerosmith track. The whole ride is themed Aerosmith. It's such a fantastic experience. You cannot leave that ride and not have a liking for Aerosmith.
And at one point, I don't know, a little fact here, it was the fastest accelerating ride. I don't know if it still is, but I think it was something like 0 to 60 and whatever it was.
From my memory, it was 0 to 60 in 2.6 seconds.
That's right,
But the interesting bit you'll remember, James, is you hit that tunnel and after that everything is black.
It's black, dark. That's right,
Brilliant.
Absolutely. Let's go with this. You've just taken me back to the Sunshine State there, Paul. So there we go. That was Aerosmith and Walk This Way, right back to that roller coaster ride in Florida.
Absolutely. And I don't want to get too deep about it, but Steve Tyler's an interesting guy as well. I mean, he's had a roller coaster life himself.
Absolutely,
think of some of the people that my organisation works with. We would have been working with Steve Tyler if we were doing it.
That's right. And I guess it's a really good point that you make there, because there are, when you're looking at some of these massive stars, it's people round about them that have kept them kind of in the right side of where they should be. I mean, because they've had, I suppose, hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of pounds, dollars to throw about, and would have. I mean, Ozzy Osbourne is another example of it, had it not been for Sharon, and she's got to take the credit for keeping that man on the straight and narrow.
Absolutely.
And I think he tried to stray a few times, and it's people round about you. So I suppose it's that kind of network we were talking about earlier on.
It is, absolutely, isn't it? I mean, what makes us happy and successful human beings? It's not money. It's the social networks that we've got, and we often undervalue them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely so. Right, so let's move on with your next question then. So we're going to cast your mind back to, we won't ask you what year it was, but when you were a teenager, what stuff did you have hanging in your bedroom wall, if anything?
Yeah, interesting one. It's a bit of a risky question to ask somebody that was once a teenager what posters you had on your wall. For me, we're perfectly safe. It was definitely motorbikes.
Right,
I was a big fan of motorbikes.
Are you a biker, are you?
I was when I was younger. I haven't had a bike for a few years now.
Right.
I don't think I'd be tempted back to it because the roads are a lot busier.
Yeah.
And my reactions are a lot slower.
Yeah.
But when I was younger, absolutely, I had motorbikes from about the age of 12 right through to probably early 30s, actually.
Right.
But
big ones, big bikes.
Yeah, big bikes, all sorts of stuff, yeah. But thinking back to when I was a teenager, what was the bike that was on the wall? I can be really specific. It was a Yamaha RD350 LC poster.
Now, you see, I've had someone on before. Terry Puckrin was on here before, and him and his wife own one of the local nurseries here, and they came in as local business people to talk to me. And Terry was a biker, and he was. I've not been a biker. I prefer a wheel in each corner. I always have, and just one of these. I think again, you're either a biker or you're not.
I suspect so. Yeah,
and he was exactly like you. He could go through every single bike that he'd had, all the way through with all the references and codes and whatever it was. So, just like you were saying with your poster there.
Well, that bike was particularly innovative at the time because it was it was a two-stroke. You don't really get two strokes nowadays, but it was particularly innovative because it was water cooled. That was what the LC was, liquid cooled.
Right.
And that was at a time when all of the other bikes were still air cooled.
Yeah.
So it was a bit of a game changer, really.
Right.
And it had a lot of new technology in it, and they were really quick and really fast, and it was just a particularly special bike.
And so that was your aspirational bike?
That was my aspiration, and I got one.
That was my next question.
When I got a bit older, I actually had one. It was fantastic. I don't have any longer, but I did have it. Yeah.
So, as a past biker, do you hear that roar of a bike going past you, and does it stir you a bit?
Absolutely. I still have a helmet and I still have leathers and all the gear. I just don't have the bike.
Yeah.
But the last bike I had, I think I got rid of it in the early 90s.
Right.
And I got rid of it because I realised I'd only used it 3 times in the year.
Right, yeah.
So, and they were nice, hot, sunny days.
Yeah.
And I didn't really want to be out on the bike any longer when it was raining or when it was windy or snowy. Yeah. And I just thought, this is just a waste.
Yeah. I suppose if you've got a car sitting in the drive, why would you pull on the leather and go out there in that weather? Yeah. When you're a young whippersnapper, that's all part of the fun, isn't it?
Absolutely.
But so it was just bikes then. That was it. That was what you had.
That was pretty much what I had on the wall when I was a kid. Motorbikes. Fascinated by them. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. That's it. So there you go. So you were learning something today. That's what you had in his wall. So if any of the staff are listening, in that you can. Have you got any pictures of bikes in your office? Is there anything?
I don't. No,
not there. So just wonder whether that had kind of cast over, because very often they say with corporate people that there's a theory that corporate people transfer some of their teenage likes into their office in a different way, you know. So whereas you might have had a poster cut out of a motorbike magazine on your wall, you would have a very arty print of a motorbike in your office. So you don't have anything like that.
Interesting theory. No, I don't think it can be applied to me, James.
Right, there we go. That's fine then. So we should really have gone with Walk This Way after that conversation about motorbikes, but we'll take things. We'll go to this one here, which is a Supertramp song. So why this choice then, Paul?
Why Supertramp? I was out in the car with my daughter, it was a couple of months ago now, and she's got one of these iPhones with her music library on the phone.
Yeah.
I'm not that sophisticated, but she was kind of flicking through the tunes, and somehow they're linked to the radio in the car.
Yeah.
And song came on, and
Bluetooth, I think they call that.
Bluetooth,
is
it right? Okay.
Yeah.
And I asked her who it was. She said it was Supertramp. I got the CD for Father's Day, and I really like this song.
This is one. So this is the Logical Song and Supertramp. So a little bit of Supertramp there and the Logical Song. We were just saying that we quite like a bit of Supertramp.
Yeah, I love Supertramp.
Yeah, they're all very good. Again, it's another one of these bands that, you know, you dig the CD out or the whatever it is, if it's on the iPod, and if you've not listened to it for ages, you forget how good some of them were, don't you?
Yeah, very catchy tunes, aren't they, really? The album that I got for Father's Day was, I think it's just their greatest hits, and there's not a bad track on it, really.
No, definitely not there. So looking at your next question then, your celebrity dead or alive dinner party. You're allowed to invite 4.
Yeah.
Who would the 4 of them be?
You know, I had loads of fun working my way through this question. The people that I picked, they're all dead.
Yeah,
none of them are alive. But so I thought, well, anybody from history's fair game here.
Yeah.
So I thought, who would I really like to meet and spend a couple of hours with? So number 1 on the list, Sir William Wallace, Guardian of Scotland.
Yeah.
I think I think lots of your listeners would be fascinated to just sit down with that man and have a conversation with him. And
now, would it surprise you if out of the 12, 18 months that I've been doing this, that he has never featured on a list?
Really?
Never featured on a list.
I'm surprised by that.
Yeah.
And I think, he's famous for saying, every man dies, not every man really lives. And I think, if you look at William Wallace's life, he absolutely lived, didn't he?
Yeah.
I think, we could do with a few people like William Wallace around today.
Yeah.
I think it's a mark of his esteem that, I don't know if you've been to the Wallace Monument in Stirling, James, but it's a fantastic monument to that man's life, and built through public subscription in the 19th century.
Was it?
Yeah, absolutely. Every single penny came from the public in the 19th century. It's a 13-storey stone tower. It's fantastic.
And if anybody's not been there, it's definitely worth a visit.
I would absolutely.
Even just, and if you don't have a huge head for heights, which I don't, even just to stand at the bottom and look up at it, it's fine when you're driving up the M9 and you see it from where it is. Yeah. But when you stand at the bottom of it and you look up, it's just an immense structure.
It is, and very fitting. A real landmark in the Stirling area.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so number 1 seat taken.
So that's William Wallace. After that, I've picked Robbie Burns.
Right, the Bard.
The Bard himself, yeah. Not because of his poetry, but I think that man had a fantastic insight into social life in Scotland in the era that he lived in. A little bit like Charles Dickens in England, perhaps.
Yeah.
A caustic wit as well, I suspect.
Yeah.
And I think some of his insights are pretty significant, and they do come through in his writing, and
described as ahead of his time.
I think so. I think so. Definitely ahead of his time.
Yeah.
A man of vision, clearly.
Yeah.
And I think he'd be a fantastic dinner guest, no question about it. Yeah.
And if you were having a nice bit of haggis on the plate, then he could address that for you.
He could address the haggis for you. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, for all that and all that.
I know that. And number 3 seat.
American, the 16th President of the United States. I'd love to have met Abraham Lincoln.
Another one that we've never had either.
Really?
Yeah.
Clearly, I'm obviously quite a political person.
Yeah.
But, looking at Abraham Lincoln and his life, I think it was extraordinary, coming from relatively humble background to being the man, I suppose, that in many ways really created America that we know today.
Yeah, definitely.
And that, that democracy. He really, I think, was a fantastic character, and a visionary, a bit like Robert Burns, and somebody I think that the Americans can be justly proud of, and I think
definitely.
They are. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think they are. No question of that.
It's interesting that Abraham Lincoln called his second son William Wallace.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's absolutely true. He was a huge fan of Scotland, the Scots, and the significant players that emerged in Scottish history.
I never knew that. So, see, you learn something new
Absolutely.
every day.
And of course, he had a significant influence over the ending of slavery, which was an aberration, I hope, in human history, and something that hopefully will never be repeated.
Yeah, absolutely.
So a great man in every sense of the word.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, so seat number 4 then, Paul.
And the final one, somebody that I'm absolutely fascinated by, and I think probably the greatest politician that ever lived. Another American, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States. Now, I would argue, having read a little bit about the man, that this is the guy whose intellect alone won the Second World War.
Yeah.
I would absolutely say that. And this is a man as well that was disabled in a wheelchair for most of his life after contracting polio.
Polio, that's right.
Fought against huge physical challenges.
Yeah.
And, I think also fought against discrimination in addition to his disability. And I think, a modern politician that was unfortunate enough to have to use a wheelchair would probably struggle with the presentational baggage, if you like,
Absolutely.
that goes along with politics nowadays.
Yeah.
That was just starting when Roosevelt was really coming to the fore in America. And, he overcame it. A very great man. The only president that had 4 terms as president as well.
Did he have 4? He
had 4 terms. He died during his 4th term, and Harry Truman took over.
That's right.
But I think, interestingly, looking at the people that I would have to dinner, William Wallace, Robert Burns, Abraham Lincoln, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, I think they would also all get on together.
Yeah, that would make sense.
I don't know what they would make of me, mind you.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I would certainly be fascinated by it. I think it would be really interesting.
So my supplementary question that I have to you, which you didn't know was coming, was you're allowed to sit 2 of them either side of your seat.
Right.
Which 2 would you choose from that 4?
Difficult. I think I'd have William Wallace and Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
Right, so the 2 American and Scott on one side. Yeah.
And the oldest and the newest.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Really interesting. Really, I'm saying we didn't have this one, we didn't have that one.
Yeah.
Actually, we've never had any of the 4 of those.
Really?
Never had any of the 4 of those in any of the lists that we've done. Really
it's interesting. Roosevelt, I think, was quite a humble man in a lot of ways, a bit like Abraham Lincoln. One of the things that Roosevelt said, and he was a great politician, a great president for America as well. He took America from the depths of depression to being the richest country in the world, and won a war in the process.
You kind of do him just now, can't
Absolutely, yeah. He said at one point, "I'm not the smartest fellow in the world, but I can sure pick smart colleagues." So here's a man that really achieved a lot by delegating and by making sure they had a good team around him. There's a big lesson there for all of us.
Yeah, absolutely, without question. That's something I would very strongly agree with. No question of that. So we're going to move on to your next track, which is a nice bit of relaxation here, I suppose, by Louis Armstrong. So why this one?
Why this one? I think what a wonderful world. We do live in a wonderful world, there's no question about it. Nobody sings this and nobody expresses these views better than Louis Armstrong.
Brilliant, here we go. Louis Armstrong in a wonderful world. I don't think there's many singing like that.
No, I don't
many
think
have
so.
tried and they just don't do it.
Yeah, I think you'd be crazy to try to cover that, wouldn't you?
Yeah. It's just one of those ones that kind of shouldn't be touched, really.
Yeah.
Right. So turning slightly macabre, I suppose, but and I've been corrected on a few times on this because apparently they don't do this on death row anymore.
Right.
Apparently you get what everyone else gets. So
Really?
So someone told me. So you don't get your special meal, but for the purposes of cracking tunes tonight, we'll pretend that it still does happen. So are you're allowed to take a starter or a main and a dessert. So are you going for a starter or a dessert?
I'm definitely going for a dessert, a main and a dessert. I've got a terrible sweet tooth.
You and me both, yeah.
So I wouldn't be able to miss a dessert, to be honest with you.
Okay. So your main course then?
Pretty simple, really. A good portion of fish and chips.
Just fish and chips?
Just fish and chips. To me, that's a real treat.
Yeah.
And I try not to eat it too often because then it won't be a treat.
Yeah.
But I must admit that I do like a nice portion of
And when we're talking fish and chips, are we talking chippy fish and chips?
We are indeed, yeah.
Yeah. So nice, full, everything deep fried that it possibly can be.
If it's nicely done.
Yeah, nicely done.
When I was at university in Stirling, there was an excellent chippy in Bridge of Allen, the Allen Water Cafe, and it was right up there with the best of chippies. Being a poor student, I couldn't go very often, but when I did go, it was a real treat, and it's kind of stuck with me.
Yeah.
I find as well that the older I get, the less I want to eat red meat and things like that, and the more I sort of would go for fish. In fact, anytime I'm in a restaurant nowadays, I would always have fish.
Right. Okay.
But you asked this question straight away without hesitation. It has got to be fish and chips.
Okay, so your dessert to go with your fish and chips then?
Yeah. That was a bit more tricky. There's lots of lovely sweet puddings out there, Could have been any number of things.
Yeah.
But I've gone for bread and butter pudding.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's interesting.
I've gone bread. Now, I would probably make this myself rather than buy it. I would make it with brioche.
Yes.
I wouldn't bother with the butter. But I would put lots of double cream in it.
Right.
And possibly also a bit of Baileys.
Right, yeah. Just a little twist on it.
Just a little twist. That's lovely. I really like that.
A little bit of naughty bread and butter pudding.
I suppose so. Yeah, luxury bread and butter pudding.
Well, I'm talking with all that cream that you've put in. Of course, nothing to do with the Baileys.
Yeah.
Other Irish cream liqueurs are available.
Of course, there is. Yes, absolutely.
So that's a fairly, with the greatest respect, that's a fairly basic and straightforward meal. There's no big frills about that.
There's no big frills about it, James, and rightly so. I think some of the base food we eat, I was brought up with a mother and a granny and all the rest of it that were making big pans of soup and things like that. So that's what we were brought up on. We were brought up on standard fare. It's funny, I was away in business this week, and I was speaking to one of my colleagues about this very topic, about we'd gone into somewhere to eat while we were away, and it was one of these Chinese buffets, a massive Chinese buffet in Birmingham, huge, biggest one I've ever seen. But the difference about it wasn't your standard Chinese buffet. It was they were cooking to order for you, so you actually took your raw meat up and your vegetables and everything, and they cooked it for you. Right. Which was quite interesting, seeing how they did that. But we were then talking about the whole, where Sunday dinner was, how I was brought up was either a roast beef or it was a chicken. It was one of the two of those. Whereas chicken now is an everyday occurrence. It wasn't, and it would be mince and tatties for your dinner, and nothing fancy or anything. If I had even uttered the words brioche, it would just have been absolutely what you're talking about. It just which is great in the sense that we've got all these things that our kids can try, and things that probably we would never have tried. But I remember, people still laugh at me about this, that I actually thought that I went to my friend's mum's house, who was a bit of a cooking whiz, and had left. I happened to leave a bay leaf in the chili con carne that we were eating, and I actually thought that a leaf had fallen off a plant into the. I'd never seen a bay leaf, and I was about 14. I'd never seen a bay leaf, and you're like, I think something's fallen off your plant into there. So, and she still, if she meets me, she still reminds me of that. We're a lot more sophisticated nowadays, aren't we? But I do think it's nice to keep it simple. Keep it simple, absolutely. So you're. We'll just lead into the next question then, talking of keeping it simple. What in a simple fashion, what would your superpower be that you're allowed? It kicks in at midnight and it kicks out at 59 minutes past 11 at midnight the following night. So you've only got it for 20 hours. 24 hours. 24 hours, maybe I'm going to cheat a little bit here, but I think, if I had the option of any superpower, I would definitely take time travel. Time travel? Yeah. Right, okay. So by that, are you a Doctor Who fan? No, that's really interesting. Do you know, I've never ever watched an episode of Doctor Who. Not even as a kid, not one. Right. None of the Doctors have I watched, and I don't really get the big hullabaloo that goes on nowadays with Doctor Who. You see, now you're talking to a Whovian here. You're talking to one who is of late. I wasn't as a kid, but of the modern ones, and as the listeners are cracking tunes will know out there that. Peter Capaldi, the first Doctor, to really play it with a strong Scottish accent, etc., is doing a fantastic job in there, and it's just one of these nice family, family shows that you can do there. But so going back to your own time travel, where would you go to? Where would you choose? It must be back to speak to one of your guys that were at your meal or something. That would be on the list, wouldn't it? Definitely. Yeah. But I think if you had the benefit of being able to travel in time, the opportunities to go back in time, perhaps to change history, key events would be very interesting, wouldn't it? Absolutely. And also perhaps to travel forward in time several hundred years, and what technology could you bring back today? The possibilities are literally endless. Yeah, absolutely. And it's one of those things, because one of the rules of time travel is you can't interfere with history. Well, you've got to let it run, haven't you? But that would be really difficult to go to a certain place and say. Yeah, absolutely. I think in that case, I would definitely be a tinkerer.
I
would be going back with a purpose.
Yeah, absolutely.
No question about it.
Just change this little bit of history a wee bit and take it from there. Yeah. So there we go then. So time travel. I'm not sure we've had time travel before. I'm not
what
sure.
Have you had previously then?
Oh, we've had invisibility. We've had all the usual ones: invisibility, flying. We've had making money grow on trees for 24 hours to be charitable and give that to charity, and various things like that. But I don't think we've had time travel. I don't think we've had that. So that's a really interesting one. Yeah, absolutely. Good. Right, we're going to, and this is a first because I have to say I don't think I've heard this version of Danny Boy. So just introduce this one then, Paul.
Yeah, I've chosen Danny Boy, sung by Eva Cassidy. I think it was Terry Wogan that described Eva Cassidy as having the voice of an angel. Wouldn't disagree with him. I think she sings Danny Boy just absolutely superbly.
Yeah, so let's have a listen to this. Is Eva Cassidy and Danny Boy. Don't forget, we're all the way through to 10 o'clock where the Colonel Kinghorn will take over for the late show all the way to midnight. Stick with us here on North Highland Radio.
It is. It's a beautiful song. She sings it really well. I think I might be wrong, but I think Danny Boy's got a link to Ireland in some way. Doesn't it?
Yeah.
And obviously Monaghan. Very proud of my Irish background as well.
Yeah.
But Eva Cassidy, I think she sings that song beautifully.
That's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So. Your final question before we go to the Killer Quickfire is something we ask all our guests to kind of reveal something that people listening might not know about you. People that not necessarily a complete exclusive, but that people would be surprised to know.
Probably a whole host of things, really, isn't there? Some of them probably worth mentioning, others not. I did kind of ask about work. What would you be surprised? What were you surprised about me when you kind of started to get to know me?
Yeah.
And a few of them said that you're good at DIY.
Right.
So I'm a bit of a DIYer, fairly sophisticated. I've built extensions and garages and all sorts of stuff. So that some people are surprised by that.
So beyond putting pictures up and that sort of stuff,
really, plumbing, electrical work, bricklaying, all of it.
Go.
Yeah, definitely. People are surprised by that. Big Star Trek fan as well.
Right.
You're a Whovian, definitely a Trekkie.
Right. Okay. Of all the generations, or?
I think the original Star Trek and the Next Generation.
Right. Yeah.
I didn't really bother so much with the ones after that.
Yeah.
But I remember as a kid in the house we had a black and white TV.
Yeah.
And I remember the day that we got our first colour television.
Yeah.
Now this is at the time when the original Star Trek series was still being shown on TV, and my mother was fascinated by Star Trek, and the two of us sat down to watch the first episode that we'd seen of Star Trek in colour, and we were just gobsmacked that they were all wearing different colours of shirts and things like that. So that really sticks in my mind. But I've always been fascinated by Star Trek, the idea of people travelling through space, encountering different civilizations. I really hope that happens one day.
Yeah. So if you walk into work one day and they're all sitting with Star Trek jumpers on, that'll be
they're having a laugh at me.
They've been having a listen. That's what it is. Okay, so we're good to go with the Killer Quickfire round. Now the rules of the Killer Quickfire round is this is one that you've got no idea what's coming. So there's just a load of questions here. Okay. I'm going to give you two choices, and you're not allowed to sit in the fence.
Right,
you have to pick one
or the other.
Or the other, so it's for as long as the music lasts, we just go with it, and then you'll be pleased to know I pull off the rubber gloves at that stage there.
I'll give it a go.
Here we go then. So this is Dr Paul Monaghan from the Highland Homeless Trust taking the Killer Quickfire round here on Cracking Tunes. Okay, chocolate or crisps?
Chocolate.
X Factor or The Voice?
I have to pick one. The X Factor, reluctantly.
Cheese and onion or salt and vinegar?
Salt and vinegar.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Tablet or laptop?
Laptop.
Email or phone call?
Email.
Christmas or New Year?
Christmas.
Simpsons or The Family Guy?
The Simpsons.
Ice cream or ice lolly?
Ice cream or ice lolly? Ice cream.
Okay. Now I think I know the answer to this one, but Facebook or Twitter?
Twitter.
Westminster or Holyrood?
Holyrood.
cinema or theatre?
Oh, these are difficult questions, aren't they? Cinema, I would say there.
Home or abroad?
Abroad.
And we know the answer to this one. Starter or pudding?
Definitely the
pudding. Swim or gym?
It would have to be the gym because I can't swim.
Oh, there was another revelation. There you go, that's
absolutely.
it. Night in or night out?
Night in.
Black pudding or haggis?
I like both. I think I'd go haggis.
CD or download?
I think I gave the game away earlier on, not knowing what Bluetooth was.
Yeah,
it's got to be a CD.
It's got to be CD, really, there, that one. On one of your nights in, Monopoly or Trivial Pursuit?
Interesting. Well, on the basis that Monopoly normally ends up in a fight, doesn't it? I'll go with Trivial Pursuit and stay on the safe side.
Roast beef or roast chicken?
Chicken.
Here's a nice one. Graham Norton or Jonathan Ross?
I don't particularly like either of them, to be honest. I think I'll go with Graham Norton.
And finally, piano or bagpipes?
Piano or bagpipes? I'd go with the bagpipes.
There you go. That was your killer quickfire round. That was Dr Paul Monaghan from the Highland Homeless Trust. Paul, it's been absolutely fantastic having you here tonight. Thank you so much for doing all that.
It's a pleasure, James. Thanks very much for inviting me. I've really enjoyed it.
Great. And we started off with a bit about the trust. Just give us the details again for anyone that's interested or wants to know a bit more on the website.
Okay, well, the website address is www.homelesstrust.org.uk. You can email us at office@homelesstrust.org.uk, and you can give us a phone as well if you want, 01463 718 693.
Brilliant. And we'll stick all that up on the show Facebook page after the show as well for you tonight.
Thank you very much, James.
Hang around because you've got a little quiz coming up between me and the Colonel where we have our weekly challenge, and to see whether it's my turn to catch him out this week, and I think I've got a good one here. The score for those that are listening in and want to keep track is currently 6-3 to me. The Colonel caught me out last week, so we'll see if we can get him on this one when he gets into the studio. Stick with us all the way through to midnight here on North Highland Radio. No, there's no helping out here. There's no helping out for the Colonel. So, good evening, sir. How are you?
I'm very well, James. Very well.
Good. And we're all ready for a great show tonight again?
We are indeed.
10 o'clock through to midnight, easing us into our beds.
Definitely.
Well, you're still up spinning discs. Well, not that we spin discs anymore, but
moving
mice, basically. That's moving. I don't know. Is the plural of a mouse mice on your table, or is it mouses?
It's got to be mice.
Isn't it? I think it has got to be mice, hasn't it?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, the plural of mice. Yeah. So 6-3.
6-3.
Now I have one tonight. Now it's an amazing, and it's actually been in the news quite a lot recently. So there's already a clue for you. And a very, 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 very popular hit. Extremely popular. Number one.
Yep.
Number one. And the line is, the first line, for those that haven't heard this before, we give each other a line each week and we have to guess what the song is. So, anyone who ever loved could look at me.
Anyone who loved could look at me. I'm not hearing Paul singing in the background.
You're not going to hear me singing that at all. I've got no idea what it is. You're on your own.
I'll give you the next bit. Anyone who ever loved could look at me and know that I loved you.
And know that I love you. Dear, oh dear.
I think you've got him on the ropes.
Yes. I think I'm going to get another kick in.
Yeah.
And that. What year?
60. Early 60s.
Early 60s.
I think early 60s, yeah.
You were only a child.
Well, maybe Beatles era. Beatles era.
Right. But not the Beatles.
Not the Beatles. The phrasing, I'm actually giving you in the phrasing that it would be sung. Anyone who ever loved could look at me and know that I love you.
No.
Okay, next clue. The clue that I'm going to give you is that there has been a television series of... Now, I know you don't watch much TV, but there's been a television series of this person's life story on recently. Over the last 3 weeks it's been on.
Well, it's not much of a clue to someone that doesn't have a TV.
Doesn't have a TV, that's right. Yeah.
So,
how many clues is he entitled?
No, I think that's about it.
That's it. I've had him a ration. In fact, he's very generous.
I'll give you one more. Because I can afford. I'm slightly ahead. I'm 6-3 at the moment. It was also recorded. The number one was a UK number one. But it was also recorded by an artist on the other side of the pond as well. Female artists. Both female artists.
Both female artists.
And what were the words again, James?
So the words are: anyone who ever loved could look at me and know that I love you. I think I've got you this week again.
I think so. Yeah. The first line did star one or two lines, but
and I bet you've played this in your show. You guaranteed to have played this in your show.
Oh, I probably have. I usually end up having to admit that week by week.
Yeah, absolutely.
The shame of it, Paul.
There. So right, here we go. You ready for this?
Yep.
As I hand over to you tonight, and thanks for everyone for listening in. Join me next week again for cracking tunes from 8 till 10, and it takes it to 7-3, Colonel.
I know.
Anyone who ever loved could look at me and know that
There you go.
I love.
But unfortunately, you've said it a bit too late.
I know.
Anyone who ever dreamed.
Yeah, there's been a show on about her this week with her life story.
Yes,
it's been really good. It's been excellent.
With,
a young actress called Sheridan Smith who played her and sang all her songs, and I have to say she's got a better voice than Scylla actually. But then that wouldn't really have been hard, to be honest, wouldn't it? So right, so we're going to hand over to you, taking us through to midnight. You're with the Colonel. Stick with us, and I'll see you all next week. Paul, thanks again for joining us tonight.
Thank you, James. It's been great fun.
I'll hopefully get you back to North Highland Radio at some time in the
I'd
future.
love to, yeah.
Great,
Please do.
excellent. Alan,
Yes, come back.
Have a good show. Oh, and just a quick one. Congratulations on